Ahoy! The New World PTR comes with new items from PvP as well as PvE, and some of them are really good, so I wanted to talk about them a little bit. I wanted to show you what's there and what you can hunt for, what could be worth it, or what maybe to just ignore. Speaking of what to just ignore, we're starting with the PvP weapons here, and the first one is definitely one that I think you can ignore, which is a flail with keenly empowered and exhausted exploitation. So they've kind of changed the whole reward system, what gear score you're getting, what you're generally getting, but now you can get gear with up to 700 gear score, it looks like, so there could be something good in here. Next we have No Quarter, a sword with keenly empowered and exhausted exploitation. I just think that exhausted exploitation is a very conditional perk. Somebody has used this against me and has then in the next match not used it and asked me if I noticed any difference, and I had no idea what they were talking about. That's how little I find that you really notice exhausted exploitation. So yeah, I don't see much value in it, and as such a lot of these are immediately ruled out. But the rapier here, Revolution, does not come with that. It comes with keenly empowered and penetrating backstab, which is a very strong combination of perks for the rapier, for PvP in general. So that is something that I would value higher. Problem is, most people that use the rapier offensively in PvP, which is already a relatively small group for most of the players, it's more of a defensive secondary thing. Many of those are using finisher because that also benefits their other weapon. So it's kind of rare that you'll actually see someone looking for something like this, but when they are, this is definitely a strong option. Drummer Boy comes with Fractured Rend, similar thoughts as Exhausted Exploitation here, Warhammer with keenly empowered and Fractured Rend. That's not very good in my eyes. Flagpole is a spear, and this also comes with keenly empowered and penetrating backstab. Again, these perks are very good on the rapier, and I find them to be very good on the spear as well. There is some debate about keenly empowered potentially being valued less in certain setups next patch because of the new artifacts, but I don't think that's a concern for the spear, because you also see spear players running medium, heavy, whatever. I don't think keenly empowered is necessarily what everyone prioritizes, but I do think this is a very good spear. Finality comes with keenly empowered and penetrating headshot. Penetrating headshot, again, I think a perk that not that many players value, but if you like it, then obviously this would be a decent bow. For me, I wouldn't really care about this one. Same thing with the musket, Last Salute. Again, you'd have to value penetrating headshot in order to value the perks here. Then we have the Great Divide, which is a Great Axe with keenly empowered and Fractured Rend. Once again, I don't think Fractured Rend has anywhere near the value that would make this even close to the level as, for example, the Rapier or Spear. The Fire Staff comes with keenly empowered and keen, Flash Flare. That, I think, is definitely a nice option. I know that a lot of players don't necessarily like keen on their Fire Staff that much, but I think of all weapons, that is the one where if you'd want keen, it would be the primary option. So I definitely think if you drop Vicious on this could be a solid option, even though other pathways may be preferred, and Vicious should have a pretty high chance there anyways. So I think that's definitely one of the higher end ones. And this next one is well above that, the highest end, that is Field Medic. Field Medic is a life staff that comes with Blessed and Savior. I'm going to click on this here to show you why that is such a big deal. Blessed has an exclusive label, Healing, and Savior also has an exclusive label, Healing, meaning this life staff, which is obviously relatively hard to get because you have to get lucky and you have to have sufficient PvP track, could in some circumstances be the best one in the game, depending on if you're after any ability perks, if you're after refreshing move or not. But in general, I think having these two together is insane. To me, this honestly looks like an accident. I think these were meant to be very exclusive, but this, in my opinion, makes it a definite BiS option in some places. So that one's definitely worth looking out for. Then we have Flotilla and Ice Gauntlet with keenly empowered and keen. It's not the worst combination, but usually you can definitely get something better for the Ice Gauntlet specifically because it's a bit more unique in what kind of perks you want. The Commissioner is a Void Gauntlet with keenly empowered and keen. Here, once again, I would value keen relatively highly, simply because the Void Gauntlet benefits so much from critting in general. So that is also a very nice option. Keenly empowered, again, could be slightly lower value for certain builds, but that's not an issue if you're, for example, running a medium Void Blade build or something. So that's definitely one that I also think is very much on the higher end here, though not quite Lifestaff level. We have Dictator's Gavel, a hatchet with keenly empowered and exhausted exploitation. I've said what I needed to say here, I don't need to repeat it. Gonna look at the other weapons here first. We have a blunderbuss with keenly empowered and fractured rend. Yeah, not a particularly big deal. And we have a greatsword, also with keenly empowered and fractured rend. In terms of the shields, we have a round shield with keen and empowering breaker, very whatever in my opinion. We have a kite shield with keen and counterattack. Counterattack obviously pretty nice as a perk, but overall keen on the kite shield, I don't really think that's a priority. And then we have blockade, which comes with keen as well, and sturdy fortification. Fortification obviously a good perk, but keen on a tower shield, I don't think there's ever really any purpose for that. Now next we have some armor, and I was gonna rip into this. I actually had to do a bit of a retake on this one because it has magnify, and then I remembered that magnify is actually changed next patch, so that's actually not a problem anymore. So while this has magnify, you can adjust what magnify is going towards, which attribute it's going towards next patch. So realistically, this isn't really going to be a big problem anymore in most loadouts, and you can run more magnify, so these pieces could actually be, well, more useful than I thought. They have health, which is currently debated in terms of viability. I think health is still very much a good perk, especially in small-scale PvP in not war scenarios. I think there's still plenty of value in health if you're not running around with a healer. And it comes with shirking heals as well, which scales with your maximum health, so there's another benefit there. What I will say is I think most light players aren't really after shirking heals in general. I think that's the problem there, because it's not really something they're heavily building into. They're not stacking that much health to get most of the benefit out of it. But I could see that maybe potentially light melee builds with the new changes could somehow make use of this. If you're putting more into con to survive in light and utilize the mobility and still come with enough damage, that could technically be a possible playstyle where shirking heals could have its place in light as well. The medium set is Honor Guard, again, magnify, but shouldn't be a problem, and it comes with health and shirking fortification. Again, for small scale, this is definitely valuable. There is debate in the war scene about what you want to run. I think shirking fortification is currently not favored that much. There are more consistent options that are often favored, like either Grid Ward, which you could argue is not that consistent either, or you just have your Frigid Dawn pieces or something between. But shirking Fort is not terrible because of that. I think it's still an option that you could consider slotting here and there. And obviously you're also not forced to run this in medium, same as you're not forced to run this in light. You can run pieces of this in your medium set, or you can run pieces of this in your light set or whatever. Though shirking Fort in light really doesn't make much sense, so never mind that. And then we have the heavy set, which is health and freedom. This again kind of interesting because I think of all loadouts, freedom is the one that you care about the least in heavy. It's a bit confusing, like with the changes to heavy that are coming the next patch, if the freedom perk is going to work exactly the same as before. But either way, you could still use these pieces in medium anyways, because they're heavy pieces, so you could still get some health freedom pieces for medium set from this as well. So again, I think there is some value in this, but it's not necessarily BiS. And obviously, it also depends on the third perk you're getting, unless you want to recraft it into something else. That is possible. They all have the upgrade recipe now, so you can craft your BiS piece here. This also makes them somewhat more accessible, and actually makes the weapons more accessible as well, because they all have these upgrade recipes. So even if you get a lower tier version, you should be able to upgrade that to 700 and put the third perk on it that you want. So there is some purpose here, I would say. We also have some jewelry along with that. Again, all of it is magnify, but it shouldn't necessarily be a problem. And here the first one we have is Order of Service, which is the new tier of Champion's Ring. This comes with keen awareness and mortal empowerment. I am not a big fan of mortal empowerment, but many people are, so maybe for them this could be interesting. Keen awareness is a damage type perk, whereas mortal empowerment is a damage con perk. So this isn't an illegal combination. You can just get this any way you want right now, but obviously you'd have to roll for the third perk, whereas here you have the upgrade option. Next we have Order of Valor, which is an earring with purifying toast and regenerating. For certain builds, I think this is fantastic. Obviously, not preferred for wars necessarily, where you have cleanse pots, but I think in any small-scale PvP, Puri Toast definitely still has its place, even though Fort Toast, for example, is also very interesting. So I do think that for me personally, this could be pretty much a BiS earring in some purposes. And again, you can put your third perk on it. And then we have Order of Merit, an amulet which comes with Empowered and Shirking Empower. This one I don't really see having all too much merit, because on one hand it has Empowered, which is a perk that is primarily preferred in PvE, and on the other hand it has Shirking Power, which is a PvP only perk, and generally there are just more important perks for you that you need on your amulets. If we just look at the perk bucket here, whichever ones you want, if it's protection and health for example alone, that would already not be possible, or any other perk that you could be considering here, you're not going to get all of them, and I think that's not going to be a good option for pretty much anything. Then we have some more gear, and this one is from the new event, from the Winter Rune Forge, I think it's called, event, and this time they made things very different, because not everything that you normally see in an event is here. There's not a weapon for every weapon, essentially. There's just a few select weapons and a few other select pieces that have very specific perks, which are a bit more handpicked than usual, I would say. So some of them are kind of interesting. Starting out with the weapons here, we have Chilled Meteor, which is a flail with Frost Attunement and Crowded Bludgeon. Nice on paper, but no one's ever going to give up Burning Smite on weapon for that, so hey. Until Burning Smite is worse or Crowded Bludgeon is better, I don't see really all too much use case for that. It's just a cooldown reduction by 25% if you hit 2 or more targets. Ice Cleaver comes with Life-Stealing Frost Attunement on a Warhammer. Don't really see where that would have much use. If you're going for a Lifesteal build with a Warhammer, you're probably going for Trench and Recovery, which could still be put on that, but overall, just not particularly great. There is Frozen Point, which comes with a Frost Attunement and can be Power Locked, which I think is a lot more interesting. I think this is one that some people could very much like. Those are perks that some people naturally put on their spears, though there are some shifts obviously lately. What you would kind of be restricted in here, like for example you could get Vicious on this, or you could get one of the weapon perks, but if you did that then you wouldn't be able to get Plague Crits, because you have Keenly Empowered on here, which is okay in some situations, but I would generally argue is worse nowadays with how good Plague Crits is. So at least a once upon a time BiS, but now at least a decent option that again can also, like all of them, be upgraded. Snowburst is a musket with Frost Attunement and Refreshing Power Shot. Refreshing Power Shot, as far as I'm aware, don't really know of anyone running that on weapon. Frost Attunement is nice, but that's not gonna be enough. Fire Staff here has Frost Attunement and Refreshing Move. I think that could be solid, but Ref Move I don't think is really preferred over other things on Fire Staff, and neither is Attunement, especially if you're going for like crit builds and stuff. So solid damage option, but I don't think super prioritized. And then we have Moon of Healing, which is again very much worth mentioning, because here we also have Savior and Blessed. So it's very much worth, if you're not looking to go out here and farm the Life Staff here, where was it, the Field Medic. If you're not looking to farm this, then you can also just do the event, and you can have Savior and Blessed instead of Blessed and Savior, so the order changes, and that's about it. So absolutely worth keeping an eye for, and also seems to come with a unique skin on top of that, so that's interesting. Also, I'm verifying this here, it is upgradable. Sometimes you never know, sometimes they're not allowing you to, but seems to be the case here. So all in all, very interesting option, very much worth looking out for healers. But that's not all you're getting from the Rune Forge. Like I said, you're also getting the other unique items that have specific perks. So we have a light chest piece here with health and mending protection, which, and this is also with focus. So these are like very much specifically geared to whatever, for that one purpose. So if you want mending protection, you're getting this. Same thing here with the light headpiece. And while this is part of the same set, you can see this has other stats, right? This is all Frost Weaver, but there is no set bonus in New World, so it doesn't really matter. And that's why the headpiece here comes with Dex. It has health and Keen Tondo. Somewhat pointless, unfortunately, because almost everyone who runs a rapier in PvE at least would run it with Finisher anyways, which already has Keen Tondo. But and Keen Tondo doesn't apply on other people's weapons anymore if they have it on armor. So maybe not the best at the moment, but maybe it'll have a use case eventually. Then we have the Frostweaver pants here with unending Thaw and refreshing and int, so nice for PvE, I guess. Then we have the shoes with refreshing and nullifying oblivion and focus. Not that many use cases for that, but I think there's some where you can strip some buffs from mobs in PvE. This could be useful. Unless, of course, you want to get the refreshing in PvP. And then we have the gloves here with focus, physical aversion, and keen beacon. A bit more niche there. I don't think physical aversion really that valued. In the medium department, we have a medium chest breathe with strength, health, and skyward nullification. Nice way to get that perk, honestly, if you can fit in a medium chest piece. The headpiece is Enchanted Ward, Relentless Freedom, and also Strength. Bit of a double up for the Greatsword. Also, again, pretty solid piece. I wouldn't complain about that one. We have the freeze frame shoes. For some reason, these are leg wear, so some mislabeling going on. Enchanted Ward and Enfeebling Poison Shot in medium. You can slot medium pants in a light build, though, with dex. And the padded gloves, which are the footwear, come with health and fortifying perforate and full dex. Obviously a very nice combination too. Freeze frame shoes, which are the gloves, come with strength, refreshing, sundering shockwave. Awkward combination, probably not that many places where you can actually fit that in well. The heavy set comes with, or the chest piece of the heavy set comes with constitution, health, and mending vortex. An okay perk to have, not the craziest, but can't complain. The Ice Guardian helmet, which is enchanted, refreshing torrent, and constitution. Heavy set with refreshing torrent, I don't know, very rare that you even see that being used. Some PvE cases, I guess, but yeah, sure, for that. Then we have the Ice Guardian leg plates, which is enchanted ward for shield rush and constitution, not bad. And the Ice Guardian greaves with for constitution, enchant ward, and voracious blade. Interesting that they put the void blade on the heavy set here. Used to be a thing once upon a time, but see if it comes back. And on the last page here we have the Ice Guardian gauntlets, which are refreshing, crowd bludgeon, full heavy. Not the best combination, not really that useful for most people. And of course, down here in the same chest, you also get Tempest Fury, or you have the chance to get Tempest Fury, which is the new Great Axe artifact. So overall, I think a lot of useful rewards here in the Winter Runeforge spoils, as well as in the new PvP collection. Looks like they're putting a little bit more time, a bit more effort into making at least some of the items useful every single time. Though I'm a bit worried about the life staff double perk. That seems like a bit much. We'll see if that makes it to life. For now, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing and clicking the bell for more New World videos as well as Nightingale videos. And if you'd like to support me further, you can do so on Patreon. Thanks to all of my patrons who already do exactly that and get early trading tips in return, especially for this patch at the moment. Thank you for watching. BiS, SLOTH, out.